Welcome back to the channel. I'm Nomad. Well, today we're going to be covering who will your mag become in a without rule of law or shit hits the fan scenario. The way I've broken this down is at the top of the graph we have lawful. Underneath we have anarchy. Now that doesn't always mean just chaos and destruction and right, like anarchy in its true form just means that people that don't want to live underneath the rule of some kind of ruling government, I guess, right? It's the ability to sustain without the need of a governing body above them. What I would consider the more moral side, we have for the people, and then over here we have for themselves, right? So this is basically the four directions I kind of see things slicing into once we no longer have anybody to call when it comes to police, fire, and rescue. Now, let's give some examples, right? So, say law enforcement, EMS, and fire, right, decide that they need to abandon shit and take care of their families because that's just how bad things are getting, right? But they can still utilize resources like, you know, the radio channels, the different, you know, the fact that they are already connected and networked together means that they can, from this point, right, because they're from a lawful standing before this situation, they're more of a lawful, you know, group of people going into this situation. They kind of have two directions they can go from there, right? I mean, could they just turn straight to anarchy? Yeah, that's a possibility as well, right? So we all have the capability of going any of these directions, right? None of us are locked into a particular direction. It's the choices that we make and our actions that dictate where on this graph we end up after the situation happens. So if we have ex-EMS, police, and fire department deciding to use their resources and their networking for the good of the people, right, they will be somewhere out here. And probably the people that will be trying to reestablish society, right? You might also see people like construction workers, people that own excavation companies, people that have paving companies that have big, heavy equipment that are meant for dealing with, you know, any kind of disasters that come our way. Because who are the people that we call when the disasters happen? It's the people that know how to run the machines and do the work that's necessary to relieve whatever is happening in the area that it's happening in and bring rule of law and society back to normalcy again, right? But they also have the potential to go the other way and use that networking and use that established structure and become selfish and self-absorbed and take on more of like an enforcer role where they kind of rule over the area like a warlord, and it's like our way or the highway, like do what we say, or, you know, I think we all know where that goes from there. Now, on the anarchy side, there are people all over the country that are becoming nomadic. They're moving out of their apartments. They're selling everything they have. They're buying mover vans and things of that nature, RVs, and they're moving out to public land and trying to survive together in communities. I think these are the type of people that you would see down on like the anarchy side, right? That would be for the people, right? Also, I hate to say it, but like people like myself that are trying to break free from the system, but at the same time, I'm not like, I have no plans of being like outwardly aggressive towards society at large if things were to go crazy, right? People like myself, homesteaders, and things like that tend to not be unlawful, but not less about governmental control, right? Lawful is about like establishing a ruling body to rule over. Anarchy is about letting the people rule over themselves. Okay? So it's not, and so anarchy for themselves, that's where, like, when you're down here, sorry, coffee cup. So anarchy and for themselves. So when you're down here, this is where people become very dangerous, openly hostile. Okay? Up here as well. This can be, both these corners are very dangerous. If you run into like an ex-military contractor group that is going around masquerading as like, oh, you need to help us with supplies because we are with the government that doesn't exist anymore, but the people don't know that because all communications will be cut off, right? And then once the people are like, you know, we're tired of giving you stuff, that's when they like say, well, we're just going to take what you have left and, you know, Minecraft the rest of you. Okay? and same, but the anarchy ones, right? They might not just, you know, act like they're good guys from the get-go. At least with these guys, you're going to know they're bad guys from the second things pop off. You know, these guys are going to act like they're your friends and they're going to stab you in the back when you're sleeping. These guys are going to come in kicking in your front door. So at least you know these are bad guys. These guys are the ones that are really going to fuck you though. All right? Okay? So we have this board laid out in front of us here. And every mutual assistance group that plans to survive past this point that we're all kind of sitting around waiting for will have where they land on this chart dictated by their actions and the decisions that they make moving forward to help them and their group survive, right? Here, you're looking at like your traditional bandit. Up here, an enforcer. Somewhere in the middle, you're looking at maybe just people desperate to survive and they have no other option, right? Somewhere in the middle, they're down on their luck and they're just clamoring to hang on and they'll do anything it takes. Desperate people, right? These are dangerous as well. But as time goes on, there'll be less of these, right? And a lot more of these. Because the desperate people will either turn into one or the other of those. Unless they get what they need to survive and start walking back to a more positive direction. Because that's how survival works. You're not all of a sudden going to be starving to death with nothing and no supplies to all of a sudden you are sitting on a mountain supplies with 50 people that are loyal to you and will do whatever you say and you know what I mean, like that. It's if you do get to that point from your lowest, you're gonna have to work yourself to that point. It's not just gonna happen overnight. So this is why we prepare, so we can just be where we want to be on this graph here from the get-go and maintain that position. You know, if it's just, you know, somewhere that's for the people, lawful, somewhere dead in the middle, right? Or somewhere out here, you know. And, you know, being prepared will allow you to take this position on the graph when everything goes bad, right? I'd probably be down here somewhere, you know. Leave me alone, but if you need eggs, come, let's trade, you know. That's kind of where I would be. You know, I don't want to be ruled over, but I will help the cause. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I stand currently. But somebody that I would say is like full on anarchy, but is for the people, would probably be like somebody that is like the owner of a trading post that is like declared their own territory of some kind, right? Like where, you know, it's like a miniature constitutional republic that is kind of like held up by the people that are from that area. You know what I'm saying? Where there's no actual governing body. It truly is just a, you know, for the people, by the people, you know, society. And then up here, a lawful for the people would be a return to normalcy, right? People striving to bring the old way of life back. And then in the middle, I would say would be opportunists, right? People that, you know, don't fall between they don't really care. You know what I mean? They're opportunists. They want to help. So they're on the for the people side, but they don't really kind of care if life goes back to the way it was, or, you know, stays on the frontier like it's going to be for a while when everything kind of goes tits up. You know, we'll be down here regardless. You know what I mean? Everything will turn to anarchy, and people will still be for the people, but it'll take a little while to be able to achieve a true lawful for the people society after the collapse of everything happens. So hopefully this helps people understand at least how I feel things are going to break down when everything kind of goes crazy, and we survive what I've called, well, not just there's a character in The Expanse, they called it the churn, and it's when society and everything kind of gets churned up, and when we no longer have rescue, EMS, police, and we no longer have the other services that we depend on, like grocery stores and other things like that, people are going to start going a little cuckoo, and things are going to get a little crazy and become anarchy, right? And it's going to be up to us to choose where we go from there. If you guys haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. It's means so much to get the continued support that we've been getting on this channel, and every like matters and helps. Hopefully you guys are living free, because out here in the 603, we definitely are.